Drew, welcome to the CommerceTalks podcast. You're going to be speaking at the Seamless conference in Riyadh in a couple of weeks. Can you speak about, or can you tell us what you're going to be speaking about at the conference?
Sure. Yeah. So first of all, Alex, thanks so much for having me. Really a pleasure. And I am very much looking forward to the conference and the panel conversation in particular. It's a really important topic. The title of the session is Achieving Financial Inclusion for Underserved Populations and Societal Groups, and which is, of course, paramount for unlocking economic opportunities for the underserved. So a topic that we can all relate to.
Definitely. Do you think that the market we're speaking in Saudi Arabia is an underserved market from a financial perspective?
Not necessarily. If you're looking at the global population, one wouldn't consider it a country that is really high on people's minds in terms of needing greater financial inclusion. However, there are certain sub areas that are underserved that have been targeted, and that certainly there needs to be more effort to make sure that they are fully included. This would be youth, women, and SMEs in particular.
Do you see that there's like still underserved groups in the Western markets like the US or Europe, or is it already like an equal participation in the financial industry?
No, absolutely not equal. And I think that maybe just to bring this back to the financial inclusion definition would be important. So a lot of times people think about financial inclusion as access to financial services, right? But it's much broader than that, actually. The true definition of financial inclusion is access to and use of affordable, quality financial products and services that ultimately lead to financial well-being. So this financial well-being component is particularly important. We know that we don't have equal financial well-being across the globe, right? But it's an issue that's definitely important for developed as well as developing markets. I think people often think about financial inclusion and just think about specific individuals in rural areas and emerging markets. That is not the case. I'm based in New York, and we certainly have financial inclusion issues here in the United States. And it's not just individuals as well. This financial well-being component certainly links very nicely to businesses as well. So small businesses need to be financially included just as much as individuals.
Okay, but do you have like a specific effect on financial inclusion? So let's say if you're like running a coffee shop, and if you're more financial inclusive, would you get like to a higher revenue? Is it that how I have to understand it?
Yes and no, right? I mean, if you have a greater financially included population, and again, this ultimate goal would be financial health, certainly it's going to mean that there are more market opportunities from you if you're a business, right? More individuals that could come in your store and be long-term customers. At the same time, on the business front, if you are thinking about it from your own perspective, greater financial inclusion for you would mean that you have opportunities to increase the financial services and products available to you. So it could be potentially establishing creditworthiness such that you could take out additional loans to grow your business too.
Okay, got it. So there's definitely like from an economic perspective, there's like benefits for for the private market and like for the business market, essentially. The Seamless conference is more or less known as a tech conference. So is it really technology which is helping financial inclusion or reaching financial inclusion goals, or is it something different?
Technology has been a huge booster, really. If you think about where we've come, if you're just looking at global financial inclusion stats, right? We know that just a few years ago, we were looking at a very large percentage of the population being unbanked. Today, we're around 75, 76% of the global population that is banked. Now, we know that there's still a lot of individuals that are underserved. But this number has increased significantly over the recent years. So if we're thinking about it, specific numbers, 1.4 billion unbanked now. Just I would say 3 years ago, it was 1.7 billion.
Yes. Yeah, so what is like what? Or let's take the number you've just said. So from 1.7 unbanked people, 1.7 billion unbanked people to like 1.4, like 300 million obviously got access to like a somehow bank account. What kind of technology advancement really helped to achieve that?
So this increase has been in large part by digital financial services. So moving from cash to digital has really increased opportunities. So if we're even just looking at mobile money, for example, we've had mobile penetration increase exponentially. And this opportunity, along with fintech advancements, along with mobile money opportunities, has been able to bring the opportunity to to make and send payments from your hand, really, in many circumstances. So this increase has really helped out quite a bit with a number of populations in terms of increasing financial inclusion. But then also, it's just it's one of those areas where not just is it increasing, and we've seen that digital products and financial services have the potential to grow further, but I think geographically as well, it's definitely become much more preferable to use the digital components.
So the Seamless conference is known as a digital conference, like where lots of technology vendors are showing their solutions. So how has this market, how has this industry helped to close the gap or to achieve more financial inclusion?
Yeah, so the digitalization of financial services has been really huge for financial inclusion. We've seen this from mobile money to acceptance of digital payments among small retailers to a number of other areas. But just this move from cash to digital is extremely helpful in that, one, it just not, it eases the how one makes payments and accepting and receiving payments. But it also is really helpful for creating a digital footprint. So whether you're the end consumer or the business itself, once you move from cash to digital, you have all of that data that you're collecting from those digital interactions. And so you can use it to, one, maybe establish your credit worthiness, and that can help you increase your financial products and services that you have access to going forward. Or it can also just help, like, for example, if you're a business and you have that data and you can see your sales data or your inventory better, you can improve then inventory management or your marketing, perhaps on the sales side. It really has been extremely helpful for both individuals and businesses. And I think we're only going to see this continue to grow. So particularly too, if you're looking at individuals who haven't previously had access to financial services, having the opportunity to access financial services by your phone, mobile penetration is very high. So this has been particularly important for increasing financial inclusion.
Okay, I never thought about this. So like just creating more transparency on the data. So what do you buy? What do you return as a business or an individual, like creates a whole new layer like for the financial industry, because it becomes more plannable and you can project on the individual performance on being able to pay back a credit, for example. I didn't know that. So, but there's hundreds of million people that are you would say underbanked, or that don't have like access to a bank account. What is missing to reach those people?
Yeah, so we currently know that there's around 1.4 billion adults that are unbanked, so no bank account, no mobile money account. But we also know that many more are underbanked, right? Now, this is actually, we've seen extreme progress. Just a few years ago, it was 1.7 billion unbanked. So we are seeing great progress here, and particularly the pandemic has helped been a catalyst for going digital and increasing. But at the same time, we have quite a ways to go here. And in terms of what can be done to get that extra 1.4 billion really banked, it's going to be further digitalization. That will certainly be helpful, but also public-private cooperation. So in terms of creating an enabling and regulatory environment that creates more opportunities for fintechs to come in or other entrepreneurs to offer products and services to these underbanked individuals, but then also just the core infrastructure. And public sector can be particularly helpful in helping build out some of that infrastructure, especially if you're looking at rural areas, for example, where maybe there isn't access to internet quite yet. That can be really, really valuable to have that public-private cooperation. And
as the Seamless conference is in Riyadh, so in part of the Middle East, would you agree with the statement that more financial inclusion, though more banked accounts from individual, will lead to more success, to faster growth for the whole e-commerce industry there?
Absolutely. I think, we definitely think of it as a rather financially included region in general, but at the same time, there still are pockets where there are underbanked. And the more financially healthy individuals as well as businesses are, the more opportunities there are. And we also know that e-commerce has certainly expanded in the region pretty heavily, but I think it's also only about 2% of current retail payments. And so we see a lot more opportunity for growth. And I think that demand has definitely surpassed what is really offered right now. And the more that we can strengthen that business case, the more that additional players will come in, hopefully fill that gap, and we'll see more supply as well.
And then my last question would be, so I've read a lot of this M-Pesa system in Africa that really help people paying their bills via their mobile phone. And in some ways, it sounds even more capable than some of the services I can use here in Europe. Do you expect that this kind of, let's say, financial inclusion innovation is coming back to Europe or the rest of the Western world? So will I be able to use like the M-Pesa system in the future to pay my, Starbucks coffee, for example?
Digital payments won't go away, and that will increase, right? And you can already pay for your Starbucks coffee with digital payments. So you don't necessarily need M-Pesa, but you will need some form of technology that enables you to pay in an electronic form. So M-Pesa is a fantastic example. It worked particularly well or expanded so rapidly because there wasn't the core infrastructure in East Africa previously. So they were able to just build that out very quickly. And adoption was fast because there was such demand. In other areas where maybe there's more core infrastructure already, it probably won't be, the adoption we know won't be quite as quick, but we are seeing real increase in moving towards digital. And in particular, I don't know if you just saw the recent study that came out from Saudi Arabia, but we know that for the first time ever, digital transactions have surpassed cash transactions in terms of a volume. So this is coming out of 2021, I believe. So the pandemic has really accelerated this shift towards digital, and I think we'll continue to see this going forward.
Drew, thank you for your statements already ahead of the CMETS conference. Really looking forward to listen to your panel and meeting then in Riyadh.
Thank you. Equally looking forward. Appreciate it, Alex.